Well, hello there, and welcome to another Minecraft tutorial. Again, polished videos will be coming soon, within the next week, but I wanted to show you a short tutorial in the meantime. This uses the 1.11 observer blocks to create a piston trap door that's both effective, compact, and also avoidable. And what I mean when I say avoidable is you can put it in the middle of a walkway, and as long as you keep walking, you'll walk right over it. But if you stop on it, that's when the actual trapdoor will activate. Now I say trapdoor, it doesn't actually have to be used for a trap. In fact, it's probably more useful just to get to your different levels of a building or something like that. But yeah, let me show you how it works. So we've got this observer block here, and there's string on top. And if I walk along the path this way, I just walk right over it. And you can hear that it activates, but by the time it activates, you're already on the other side. So that's fine. I can walk back, no problem. But if I want to use it, I just walk into it or just stop on it. It's easiest to walk into a wall behind it just to align yourself because it is a one wide hole. So if you walk on this side and stop, you might stop actually on this block or that block and it will, keep you up here. But if you walk straight into it, you fall down. And I've tested this in survival and it doesn't do any damage. That's why I have this water drop here, because depending on how far down you fall, you might take fall damage. So just put a water drop or a slime block or a hay bale or something to reduce your damage and you'll be fine. And then you do whatever you want down here. You can have a treasure room, a basement, a laboratory, whatever you want down here is fine. And so now let's just hop out and I can show you how it's built. Like I said, it's extremely compact and extremely simple. So let me take away some of these nice little aesthetic blocks, which I have just broken. This one was not aesthetic. There you go. So basically the way this works is pretty simple. Again, not aesthetic. Uh-oh, I just broke the torch. So that... Okay. So, the way this works is there is an observer block here. Let's see if I can take that away. Yep. And that. So you can see there's an observer block here facing into the wall here, which is actually facing into the air block below this observer block. So, when you trip that string, it creates a block update, and that causes this observer block to change the power level of this block here. Now there's actually nothing there, it's air, but that still creates a block update at that position, which this observer block will pick up. When that happens, this observer block will send a pulse into this block right here, which will be sent through this repeater to extend it just long enough to turn off this torch. Now this torch is powering this block and powering the piston, which is holding this observer block in place. So when this torch turns off, this will retract the observer block and you'll fall through. So that's the simple part of it, right? So you trip the wire, it updates, which causes an update here, which sends a signal through here, which extends it, which turns off the torch, and retracts the piston, and you fall through. There is a tricky thing though. So let's say I didn't have this part right here. If I were to cause a block update here, you'll see it continues on forever and creates an infinite loop, which is not what you want. Which I just broke it. Let's do. You actually have to place this in at the right time when it's off. No. This is very difficult to do. I'm going to extend this. I'm going to turn this off, then do that. So the problem is that it's constantly creating block updates. So every time one of these observers is moved by a piston, it creates another block update, and that triggers itself, and so it ends up triggering the whole system again, and that's not good. As you saw, it just leads to a clock. So what you do This should be on 3 ticks. So what you do is you take the output from this repeater that's already going into this torch, and you channel that output around and back into the repeater through a 3-tick repeater. Now, when a repeater points into the side of another repeater, it creates a repeater lock, which locks it in its current state. So what we're doing is we're sending that signal through, and 3 ticks is just long enough to be between those clock ticks so that this will be off by the time it gets locked. And so when this moves back into place and creates another update, this will be locked and won't be able to send that update through, and it'll stop the system. And since these only create a 1-tick pulse, by the time this repeater turns off and unlocks this, it's already been sent through and it doesn't actually retract the piston. So yeah, this basically just allows you to move this observer block with a piston without it getting constantly updated. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. Like I said, it's best to have a block back here so that you can align yourself properly, and then you fall. And again, at the bottom, water or hay bale or whatever, but that's fine. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like I said, simple, compact, elegant piston trapdoors. And once you put all these aesthetic blocks back in just to cover it all up, it actually looks pretty decent. I mean, you do have to have these 2 blocks over here to cover up the piston, but you can put it against a wall or something, and then, if this is against a wall, then it's completely invisible except for the block that's actually being used as a trapdoor. So, really nice and elegant, looks good, works well, all thanks to the new 1.11 observer blocks. So, that's it for this tutorial. Until next time, keep falling through trapdoors and keep redstoning.